Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Bible Illustrated Hands. The current number of infected people in Serbia is 18, and so far the gatherings that have more than 100 people are banned. So today's question comes from Shrigs. He or she asks, "Hey Boyan, do you think you can do a video on how someone can convert to Orthodoxy? I'm currently Catholic and I'd like to know how." Sure thing, not shrieks. The easiest way to become an Orthodox is to get born into Orthodoxy. Now, of course, nobody gets born Orthodox because you need to get baptized. But if you get baptized as a toddler, bada bim, bada boom, you're Orthodox. And that's the easy part. And then you get to envy all the converts because, because you missed out on the magic of finding about Eastern Orthodoxy. So that's one way. However, if you want to convert into Orthodoxy from some other religion, this is how the process generally goes. You find out about Orthodoxy, you start reading about it, you get convinced of its truth, you start reading, and so on. That is the first phase. The second phase is that you want to experience it for yourself, and you do that by attending the closest Orthodox community. Some of you may have the luxury of having many Orthodox churches around, and then you have the honor and privilege and blessing to pick and choose. And in all probability, these communities, at least in the United States, and from countries that aren't traditional Orthodox countries, will be from different patriarchates, which is a bit of canonical chaos, but it is what it is. We work with what we have. Once you have located the nearest Orthodox church, you will most probably go to the Divine Liturgy or some other service, generally Vespers, that is the evening service. And for most of the time, you will be like, wow, this is really pretty. And it is. So, assuming you're still like interested in Orthodoxy and everything, you want to get to the next level, to the third base, and you do that by getting the courage to talk with a priest. Then you will Google clergy etiquette, and once you do, you will find out how to kiss his hand, how to address him properly, and so on, and all of the other most important things that Christianity teaches. Once you do that, you will probably announce that you're thinking about becoming Orthodox. He will say, wow, that's really nice. And after a couple more weeks, months, whatever about, and after a lot of prayer, you may actually decide that you really do want to become Orthodox because, you're convinced, you're completely convinced of your truth. Now, there's a bit of a branch here, branching choices. If this is a traditionally Orthodox country, you can basically waltz into many a church and say, I want to become an Orthodox, and the priest there will be like, oh wow, cool, it is so cool to have this nationality that's generally not Orthodox become an Orthodox. So you'll get baptized immediately. That is at least the case, sadly, in Serbia, where I know a couple of churches where you can become Orthodox instantly. However, I suggest the other option, which is, thank God, more of a rule, again, in traditionally non-Orthodox countries where conversions are still the primary way of growth of the Orthodox Christians, and that is to enter catechumenate. Catechumenate is a period where you basically live Orthodox way of life without sacraments. Sort of like living but without air. However, it is manageable, sort of. So you're not actually living Orthodox life, but you're sampling it. What catechumenate It begins with the priest reading the the rite of becoming a catechumen, which involves exorcisms. And if you read these exorcisms without knowing that they're typical part of catechumenate prayers, you would think that the person these prayers are read over is literally hovering in air and screaming and blaspheming God and something, while in all probability you're just standing there and wondering whether you will start hovering and blaspheming God and that not happening, and you being glad but also sort of underwhelmed. Once that is over, your official catechumen, you would be anointed with the holy oil. And once that is over, you will become a catechumen, and then the teaching and living phase of your catechumenate starts. This primarily involves you living your life according to the gospel. If you haven't, if you haven't been already, because you're a part of some other Christian denomination. This would especially include attending Orthodox services, typically the Sunday liturgy, but maybe other services, as in any way that your priest, deems is best for you. And this would also include the catechism classes, where you will sort of learn Orthodox mindset, Orthodox view of things, and so on. That is essentially catechumenate. And after a period of time, which varies, but I think that it is around 2 years in American churches, which is a hefty amount of time, it is time to officially become Orthodox. If you're converting from a non-Christian religion, you would get baptized. And if you're converting from an Christian denomination, you would either get baptized or chrismated. That is, the priest in question, following the prerogatives of his bishop, might deem that your baptism is valid or not. We don't have the central decision on that issue. Generally, the practice is to simply allow people from non-Orthodox Christian denominations to enter with chrismation. That is what Western Christians would call confirmation. You will be anointed with the Holy Chrism, which is a sacrament, which is always practically always accompanies baptism in Orthodox Christianity. However, when people convert to Orthodox Christianity from another Christian denomination, or they have been previously baptized but have apostatized, they would get chrismated again, and that would seal you into the church, and again would validate the previous baptism that you had, which is also one understanding why this is done, but not universal. Some people think that you were already baptized. This is just, introducing you to the church and pouring out the power of the Holy Spirit upon you. And the final step to becoming Orthodox is not actually chrismation, even though a lot of people think it is. No, the final step to you becoming Orthodox is taking your communion, because that is why you're getting through all of this, so you could partake of the Holy Eucharist, so you could partake of the fountain of immortality. I hope I was of some use to you. Of course, this really depends on your individual church, priest, bishop. There is a lot of variables. Who knows what you may encounter if you decide to become Orthodox, or anyone else watching this video. But I hope I was of some use to you. Bye.